Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey. Found you. Annika, let me pick the song.
Yeah,
so
and
it's gonna be
opening. Look at him, he's on fire.
Hey.
We're opening with hip hop today. Welcome, guys. It's 2016. I'm so excited to another episode of Grandfather. This is episode 10, Perfect Physical Specimen. I'm here with a guest host today. I'm so excited he's joined me.
Hi, Stephen Helmkamp. Happy to be here. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Stephen Helmkamp. And I will say, I'm a new viewer to Grandfathered.
And what'd you think?
I caught the pilot, and I caught this most recent episode, and I got a lot of good opinions and input to come.
I like it. Let's just jump right in.
Okay.
Because obviously this episode, you know, Jimmy, there's like two things going on. The second story is a little bit smaller, obviously, because the main focus is Edie getting her eardrum surgery.
Yep.
And like Jimmy not going to the doctor for God knows how long. And the second story is obviously like Ravi and Kelly off to their shenanigans, trying to figure out what the heck is in Jimmy's safe.
Yeah.
And like I was like, what? That's what's locked up so like intensely?
The fancy hand cream?
Oh my God! Like that's.
A man's hands are one of his biggest assets.
This is very true.
Let's keep it real here.
This is very true. But I mean, that's a little bit intense security. Like, who's going to come into your house and steal hand cream?
I think it just speaks volumes for John Stamos, his character's
Jimmy.
personality. Yeah. Because he's such a pretty boy. He's definitely a city boy, delicate.
Yeah.
And so it definitely plays into just kind of how pampered he is.
Yeah, I agree. And I love that Frank Sinatra's birthday was the code.
Well, and then he gives them the security code without them even asking after they've taken the safe and like almost killed themselves trying to get this thing open.
It's hilarious.
So
I mean, I guess I don't know what I would put in a safe that like intensely locked, but I don't think it would be lotion.
Yeah, definitely not fancy hand cream.
No. Well, it's discontinued in his like defense, but still, who's gonna what? It's hilarious. It's very Jimmy though. You're very correct. It's very Jimmy.
Yeah.
But obviously the main story is he hasn't gone to the doctor.
Been a long time. And I think that's kind of typical for like a lot of people nowadays. Like, who wants to go to the doctor?
No one.
And people are busy and making the appointments. Plus you have 8 different kinds of doctors, especially as you start getting older.
Right.
There's more and more doctors coming into your life.
That's true.
So Jimmy at the top of the show, he's like, I'm a perfect specimen. I take my vitamins. I'm healthy. I don't need a doctor. And then he gets convinced to go.
Yeah. Then he gets tricked to go because they tell him they're going to that restaurant, that fancy restaurant. So the whole like drive, he's like, "Oh my gosh, we're going to like eat here," and then he's like, but he wasn't so angry. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't so like. I feel like if someone tricked me into doing something I didn't want to do, I'd be more upset.
Do you feel like that was a fault in the writers of the script, or do you just feel like that was part of the show? Like Jimmy, maybe it was like, okay, maybe I'll go.
Yeah, I don't think it was a fault of the writers. I think because he even said like, oh, I could go to the doctor anytime. So I don't know how major that fear was until he got the cancer like scare 2%.
From a huge guest star, Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil! Oh my God.
Phil!
Which like they cross-promoted, by the way. I missed it. I was really bummed. I didn't know he was going to be on, but he was on Dr. Phil, John Stamos, like yesterday.
Stamos was on Dr. Phil.
Yes, yesterday's Dr. Phil episode, John Stamos was on. I don't know what he talked about. I'm really bummed I missed it.
Probably the show.
Probably the episode, and working together.
On. Dr. Phil is so personal on his own show, Dr. Phil, and he's so great engaging with the camera, engaging with the audience. But in this episode, I didn't feel his. I know he's not an actor, but I felt his nerves.
Yeah.
In the episode, I felt his nerves. I mean, he did his thing. You know, it was a stern doctor. But we have Dr. Phil on. I would have loved to seen some cliche Dr. Phil
like moments,
the mentoring
and like quotes
or maybe even the hard nose as Dr. Phil gets sometimes with some of his guests on his show.
That's true.
I would have liked to see more of that.
That would have been good. I don't know if I don't think he's coming back for a second episode. I'm assuming this is the end of the Doctor.
Probably can't afford him.
No, this is true. I mean, who knows? He probably did. And like, it's funny because you see it on his talk show, he's not like a doctor doing physical exams, and here like Stamos is cracking jokes, you know, like, because he's nervous, and you do that when you're nervous, trying to like
you deflect.
Yeah, you're trying to like laugh, and this guy he's like, he's like, all right, let's just get through this. Like, he doesn't care.
Sure. And a lot of doctors are like that. And personally, I work in medical sales during the day, so I actually call on doctors. So yeah, they're no BS. They got a waiting room full of patients. They're like, what do you want? Let's get to it. On to the next.
Right. And then they have rooms full. They don't have time to waste with you.
So Dr. Phil hit those notes appropriately, as a real doctor would.
Yeah.
But that was my only small complaint. But yeah, Stamos, so now he's like on alert and got this skin cancer mold, and he's like freaking out.
Yeah.
And then what, they set him up, they're like, his assistant's like, oh my God, if he Googles it, He's gonna lose himself. And
I true story, really fast. I told him before the show the same thing happened to me, but I wasn't tricked into going to the doctor. Like I don't know if you can see, but there's like a scar on my arm. I
saw a little bit from here when you showed it.
Yeah, it's like a little scar on my arm, but same thing. I'm literally at the doctor with my friend, not for myself, like holding her hand through it. And the doctor like looks at my arm and he's like, "Oh my gosh, have you gotten that checked?" And I was like, "Oh, what the heck?"
Yeah.
And so he literally was like, "This needs to be taken out right now. It needs to be sent for samples. Looks like," but mine was like scarier than his 2%. Mine was like, "This looks like you're gonna die."
He took a biopsy right there.
Yeah. And so he like took it out, and of course I'm like, oh my God, something serious. I didn't even come here from me. What the heck? Now I'm getting this removed. Like
that is
now it's getting sent to labs. Oh my gosh, I have cancer. And like I Googled like skin cancer mold.
You were John Stamos.
I was John Stamos. I can relate to him.
Were you eating queso dip out of the thing and drinking brandy?
No, but I definitely was Googling skin cancer moles, and don't do that if you have a.
Can I ask what the result was?
Yeah, I don't have it. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
But
awesome.
It's always scary, of course, like the waiting period of like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, this is how it's ending, you know? And like, anyway, so I can relate to this. I totally related.
This episode was a special episode for Annika here. She was in it.
I was in it. And it's funny because it's like both skin cancer on the arm. Like, what are the chances? I was like, yes! But like, that's not the thing you want to relate. You don't want to like
be relatable to that. Yeah.
No, that's not the, you know, anything else in the episode would be great. Like the skin cancer on the arm, not so much.
Well, when you meet John Stamos, that's a great story. You should check.
Yeah, I should just let him know.
You have a good Stamos story.
I do. This is very true. I'll let him know next time I see him. But did you have a favorite part of the episode?
Favorite part of the episode? Well, again, because I'm like a new viewer, I really liked seeing Christina Milian on. I mean, I know she's been on as a series regular or whatever. I think it's really cool because it's definitely outside of her being with Gerald. I follow like hip hop and R&B and everything like that. And like in real life, she just broke up with Lil Wayne, who's like the most gangster, tatted up dude.
Yeah, and he was in the pilot.
Lil Wayne was in the pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, like briefly in the restaurant scene.
Yes,
and then obviously they're not together, so he's no more.
So to see her be in a relationship with Gerald, right? And it's believable.
Yeah.
I totally believe them too as a couple. So I applaud her for her acting and being able to make that leap over. But yeah, I mean, my favorite, I don't know if I have like a favorite moment in terms of the episode. It's just great kind of getting reacquainted with everyone in Stamos. I think he carries the show really, really well. That was one of my notes, actually. Stamos.
He really does.
Carries it well.
And I think, obviously, I mean, he's done a lot of interviews, especially lately. He's like on everything. Good Morning America. He was on Jimmy Fallon the other night. And everyone kind of asked the same question. And he like always says like, you know, like I kind of feel like he's playing himself, like a bachelor, like all these women want him, and he always says he wants a family in every interview. He always talks about like, oh, I want to find someone and have babies, and like, you know, and like
pulling a George Clooney, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, he's waiting for his Amal, so.
Yeah. Well, you know, you do kind of book who you are. I mean, in essence, you do bring a part of you into every character.
It's true.
And if that's what Hollywood sees John Stamos as, why wouldn't they pick that? I mean, if this show got pitched and said, okay, great, we want to make a show called Grandfather, right? Who's going to be our grandfather?
Who's going to be like the sexy grandpa? Yeah.
I can imagine the boardroom saying, oh, we could have Rob Lowe or Stamos. You know, I imagine that's what he's kind of known for around town.
For sure. I mean, honestly, he's a single man The ladies love him. Men love him too.
On John
I'm sure.
Stamos?
Yeah.
I just saw the moment right here.
Look
I just saw a little.
No, he's so sweet. I've met him a few times, and obviously we work on the same, like, this show shoots on the same thing. So every time he sees me, he's very nice, and I'm like, cool. Okay, you're an awesome guy.
That's really cool.
But I really liked. I don't know if you guys picked up on it. There was a lot of subtle hints to like medical things and jokes this episode. Like one of my favorite lines, I literally had to stop the thing and write it down because it said, he was talking to, I think, Gerald at the restaurant, and Gerald and oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name?
Christina's name?
No, Padgett's character name. Oh my gosh, it's gonna come to me. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on her name right now.
Who,
but
the assistant?
No, the Gerald's mom. Her real name is Padgett.
Gerald's mom.
Yeah.
Say Gerald's mom.
So he was talking to them at the restaurant. He's like, I dated a girl named Anastasia once. She was in love with me, but I felt nothing. Like,
that was pretty good.
There was a lot of like little
creative.
kind of medical things like that. Like, I was like, wow, that was actually really funny.
Yeah.
That was really witty and like smart comedy, you know?
Good writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I like seeing that. And you're seeing more and more of that in television now. That's why you get a lot of like movie stars and big stars to come back and do TV, because TV's getting so good.
It's
and
true.
That's a perfect example of that.
It's true. I liked it. So I applaud whoever the writer was this episode. I'm sure there was a group of them writing together, but
Bravo.
I really liked it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have any news?
I took it down because...
Do you have any news and gossip?
News and gossip?
Yeah.
News and gossip about the show?
Yeah, I have something we can add.
Okay.
There we go. Our news and gossip, I guess, it's going on right now, so I can't report on it. But if you guys are at home watching, or if you voted, I hope you did, because we always talked about it. They're at the People's Choice Awards right now as we speak in LA.
I had 2 free tickets to go to the People's Choice Awards tonight.
And you're here?
I have a best friend who's like a PA on.
Yeah.
He's actually kind of moved up in the rankings now, but every year he gives me 2 free tickets to the People's Choice Awards. And he's like, hey, do you want to go? And I actually had dinner tonight with a mutual friend,
Oh my
Justice.
gosh.
Justice?
Oh, yeah. We
our
have
buddy.
to talk about that later.
He told me
That's
to
hilarious.
tell you hello, so
Hi,
I had
Justice.
dinner with him. I didn't want to cancel, so I couldn't make it to show, but that's cool.
That's
Grandfather's
so insane.
there.
Yeah, they're up for Best New TV Show Comedy. And then actually Stamos and Josh Peck are against each other for the same like Best Male in a Comedy Series or something, new comedy series. So I voted, and I will be honest, I voted for both because, you know, I can't. It's
like choosing your favorite kid.
You can't do that. So I voted for both. I hope you guys voted too. I'm really excited to see if they win. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's exciting.
And yeah, it'll be good.
Has this show been picked up for more episodes, or how many
No
episodes
one has
do we
said,
have?
but it's 22. So they're shooting until the end of February.
Oh, so they got booked for 22.
Yeah.
Out the gate, like at the beginning.
No, it was like how Grindr was.
Oh, recently.
Yeah.
That's big.
It is. They
That's
picked
a
up
lot
the
of
back
TV.
9. Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm fingers crossed. I think they're doing good on ratings. I keep checking because I don't want them to stop.
I know. It's good. I like seeing Stamos on screen.
I do too. And I don't want to say because it's not 100%, but I'm really excited because we have a couple guests coming up from the show.
Hey,
so
yo.
you have to keep watching. I'm not saying who, but you're going to love it. And so are we. And I'm so excited that they agreed to do this. So
very cool.
You will have to keep watching and see. You might never know. Next week we might have a full house in here.
Maybe, possibly. And she's not talking about just me. She's talking about other
right.
cooler people.
Other cool people will be joining us. But yeah, that was it.
Awesome. How cute was that baby though? And
so cute.
that baby smiles
2 of them.
so much. Are they twins?
They're twins, and then they have like doubles, so there's like 4 of them running around the set.
Yeah.
They're so cute. They're so I don't know which one I met. I was walking around the lot, and she was literally eating Cheetos and like just talking to me about birds and trying to feed the birds. And she's like, "Why won't they come get the Cheetos?" And I was like, "Oh my God, you're the cutest thing ever."
Yeah, that baby.
They're living the life, man.
Very cool.
Funny story I will say about the baby. Stamos said on Fallon that he took them all to Disneyland for the first time, and he was like trying to pick up a girl as like one of them was on his shoulder, and then she peed as he's like flirting with a girl on him.
How perfect.
So like, of course he's like, now I have pee down my back, I can't really ask this girl out, and that's kind of how that happened.
That ended that.
That ended
so
that.
funny.
Her peeing ended that. His pickup.
Baby ain't having none of that.
Yeah. No. She was like, "You're not doing this date. Sorry about it."
Right. She claimed her man.
So funny. But tell them where they can find you. Thank you for joining us. That was fun.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. At Stephen Helmkamp on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, awesome. And you can find me on Instagram at AnnikaMichelle1 and Twitter AnnikaMichelle1 and my website AnnikaMichelle.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Boom. See you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.